You're listening to the Boxing Coalition.
And it just broke the guy's heart. The guy had nothing left, and he knew he couldn't last another 4 or 5 rounds.
Ricky Wars just smashed his soul.
What a deal, let's get it.
Fuck that, get your cat, nigga. You hear me?
Let's get it.
Go kick his motherfucker.
Get that motherfucker in.
Let's see you do this. Little step back, bang, bang, bang. Little step back, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang. Try and stop it. Bang, bang. Here I come. Bang. You want to throw sometime? Bang.
Body shot. Boom, 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 boom. And go to the body. Kill that body. You took his nuts, now you gotta take his heart.
Yeah, take his whole soul away.
Yeah, get out of here, Dale. I'll see you later. Find someone credible. Get out of here.
He was higher than a motherfucker. I'll tell you, he was stoned as fuck.
No, it's only a majority decision if there was an even score. There's no even score here. You're an official, right? You're an official of the state. Well, then you don't understand how to score.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable. The crowd here on Fuego.
He's ready to be whooped, man. He's ready to be whooped. He's ready to be whooped.
And Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow. That is going to be controversial.
But you really liked to stand toe-to-toe with him in the 12th round, even if you thought you won the fight. It was on. Did you like that? I love you.
Hello, and welcome to the Boxing Coalition, a place to discuss anything boxing. We have a rotating panel of hosts that consist of Chemo, Mao Alpha, Cam, Daniel Lim, and MV Chu. If you want to have your say, call in on Skype. Just add Box Coalition and get involved in the show.
Hi guys, and welcome to a random episode of the Boxing Coalition. A shout out and get well soon to Ness of the Boxing Voice. I think he's had a wisdom tooth pull, so there's no show today. So we were just waiting to listen to their show, so we thought, fuck it, we might as well go live and talk about Canelo, because that news broke after Monday, after our show. So let's get into it. I got MV Chu, my boy. How you doing, Chu? Well, I thought I had MV Chu there. Chu, are you there? Dave, are you there?
Yo.
What's happening, David, the Sinister?
What's up, man?
I'm good, Dave. Let's just get into this, man. What's your feelings about Canelo having this 3-fight year deal over at HBO?
Well, I like it. I definitely like it. I think it's a good move for him. It's definitely where he needs to be. You know, I mean, a star of his magnitude definitely needs as much exposure as possible. So HBO is going to give it to him.
Definitely. And I was talking to King Jay just on Twitter and stuff, and saying, look, HBO is the brand, the classic brand, like the big brand that has pay-per-view fights over the years. I know Showtime have their fair few, but HBO always has like the bigger names, the more classic fights, and it's definitely where Canelo needs to be. Let me see if Chu's on the line. Chu, can you hear me? Can you hear me yet? I'm not hearing anything, Chu. Maybe hang up and then call back and see if that makes any difference. Dave, do you think there's going to be some repercussions with Showtime executives letting Canelo leave Showtime? Because really, he's probably their biggest fighter, and now they've lost him. Do you think some people are going to get sacked?
Well, you know, I would hope so, you know. I mean, I think it was, I read an article where Espinoza said he was extremely pissed that this happened, and he should be, but you can't really blame Nello, you know? I mean, what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to stay with this company or this network that really hasn't been providing what they should have this past year, you know?
Totally.
He's going to stick it out with them?
Exactly. I think I can hear some background noise from MV Chu. Chu, is that you?
It's me, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. Perfect.
Alright, next one. Sam.
Yeah, nothing true, man. We're just talking about Canelo and his move over to HBO. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Brilliant. Great for boxing. Canelo's back on the biggest network. I like it. But I heard today that Canelo wanted to fight Golovkin. So that's even better news.
Yo, Chew, I know Triple G's your boy, man, but like can you see him? Can you see Canelo beating Triple G or what?
Nah, but I respect the fact that he wants to fight him. Like, I think Golovkin's a beast. Nobody's going to beat him.
What's up, guys?
Yo, we got Daniel Lim on the line. How you doing, Dan?
You know what? I'm not that excited about this news, actually. I think Canelo is just an overrated hype job, so I'm not that interested in it, to tell you the truth.
Dan, you came in your pants when you heard this news. Stop lying.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right. I did. I was just finishing watching the first 4 rounds of that Angulo-Canelo fight just because it's just 2 pound-for-pound beasts going at it, you know? But, yeah, honestly, though, I think it's a great move. I'm actually not going to say that it's a guaranteed great move in the long run because, I mean, the fact is, like, it's just the beginning of another Cold War situation. So I'm not going to, try to hail it or herald it as some kind of great move for boxing or anything like that. But I think what it does ensure is that May pay-per-view date is going to be a great fight regardless because it guarantees either that Canelo versus Cotto fight. And if that fight does happen, the only way for Mayweather, I think, to respond to that is by taking that Pacquiao fight, right? Because that's the only pay-per-view fight that can do better numbers than that Cotto-Canelo fight. So we're, in either scenario, we're left with a great fight, and I think it leaves boxing in a competitive state. I think it's obviously terrible for Showtime. I mean, I don't really know what Showtime's going to do in the future, but those are just my 2 cents on the situation.
Dan, out of Canelo's first fight at HBO, what would you prefer to see?
Honestly, I think I'd rather see that Kirkland fight just because I know it's going to be Josecito version 2.0, and I'd love to see another ass whooping by Canelo just to see those beautiful combination punches. But if it's Claudio, I think it goes the full distance. But if it's Rosado, I think he gets Rosado out of there within 8 rounds.
Yeah, Chu, you got quite a bit of background noise before. I don't know if it's because you're trying to move your laptop about, but just to let you know.
But Cam, who would you rather choose between the two?
Am I right in saying from what I've read that it's going to be 3 fights per year for 3 years?
I haven't read that, but that sounds about right.
Lim, it's Kev Horn. I've read that too. It's going to be 1 free one and potentially 2 pay-per-views a year. But
okay,
that's not a mandatory. That's like a blueprint.
Exactly, a layout. Do you know what the numbers are like in terms of, is it a fight-by-fight basis, or is he guaranteed money for an entire year? Like, what's the contract like financially?
To be honest, Oscar was very discreet about it. He was basically just saying, we just want this partnership to be a long time and stuff like that. So, and everywhere I looked, it basically just seems like they just want it to last a while and they want to build the future of the network around Canelo. So I don't know that it's necessarily in writing, but they're going to just push it.
Yeah. That's great news, man. HBO is doing a great job. I know they're in a lull right now and they're not having any fights for about another 2 or until that B-Hop fight. But I mean, if that's the way it's going to be, I prefer this method, picking top-notch fights and just having it more spread out throughout the year. You don't have to have a fight every week. Yeah, that's just not necessary.
Yeah, I prefer less fights as long as we're getting quality fights and quality main events, and that's pretty much it. I mean, let the other networks, that Fox Sports 1, the ESPNs, let them deal with building the prospects and getting people known, and then, when they're ready, come up to the show.
Come up to HBO, right?
Yeah.
I agree. No, but I mean, I'm just happy because I think this is definitely the right direction for Canelo to grow his fandom, his fame, and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm a Showtime hater, but I really hate the production value on their programming. I just don't really like them as a television network. And even though pay-per-views aren't fully dependent on the network, that they're based on, I still think just the structure of HBO and the backing and the advertising and the way that they're established, I think it provides a better like a groundwork for Canelo to build his fame,
Yeah, and I mean, HBO is also, they've had Top Rank predominantly, but they've also worked with, main events. They've worked with K1, Banner. They've worked with everybody. So now that they're getting Golden Boy, I think, Golden Boy fighters might start working with them.
that just opens up that talent pool where, you know, HBO's already ready, like, you know, rejecting fights and being more selective at fights. That it puts the pressure on, like, hey, we got the talent here, so you got to put something good together. You can't just throw shit together and we're going to accept it because that's the best you have to offer.
And sorry to switch the subject, but is it true that Showtime is thinking about getting rid of or what is it called? The
Showbox.
Showbox, are they getting rid of that? I've heard rumors about Rick Glazer posting that out, and Rick Glazer's been pretty damn accurate the past 2 weeks.
As soon as he posted it, though, Steven Espinoza came out and denied it. Like,
yeah, I heard that.
It's actually the bullshit Steven Espinoza account, but he also denied it as well and said it wasn't discussed or something like that. So, I mean, Showtime's basically in damage control mode pretty much right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if their rumors are like these pay-per-views are what they are, and they're losing numbers as is. And think about how many Showbox cards in the last 2 years were just used as TMT cards. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Think about what they did with their budget. They basically look at what they've been paying people. There's no way you can afford it. Boxing is not that profitable to networks.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree.
I think. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
what's up, Chill?
What's up, Kev? What's up, Lim? I think HBO have played their card perfectly. They've just let Showtime spend their way out of existence. They just kind of kept their purse strings tight. Well, Showtime is giving out all this money to Floyd and his TMT stable, and look what's happened. They've won the war, and Showtime's just gone into survival mode. Yeah,
it's not only the TMT and Floyd, it's pretty much all of Heyman's fighters. I mean, freaking Andre Berto got $400,000 in his last fight, you know, for these Showtime cards that are averaging like 600, 700,000 views at the peak. I mean, I know Broner did like 1 million or something like that, but Porter Brooks did like 600.
Stevenson from Farr did like 5. You know what I mean?
70. I mean, like, honestly, if I'm Showtime, whoever's running the executives of Showtime, I would cut boxing, you know, out of the entire fucking, you know, payroll. I mean, I don't understand why you would fund that much money for something like that. But that's the reason why I believe that Al Heyman is getting outside sources to fund most of his fighters. So that's what I'm, you know, most curious about.
Cam, I don't know if you remember when I first started calling the show, like the first time I called, I mentioned that, you know, the money that they're laying out for this budget is something that can't be maintained. Like, it just can't. It never has. So I predicted this year would be a lot worse because they wouldn't be able to put on these fights because you can't afford to have triple headers where every fighter's making 6 figures, and that's 6 fighters making mid to high 6 figures in some cases. It's impossible. And then I basically said, and granted, you know, the few people I know from being around the gyms and fighters are mostly top rank and main events. So there's, you know, anti-Heyman bias and Showtime bias probably in what I say from the few people I know. But, you know, I heard after the Guerrero fight that it was so bad and the loss took such a big loss that they kind of forced the Canelo fight because they basically said, if you don't take the Canelo fight and we can't book on that being a big money, we have to slash our budget for the second half of the year or early 2014, you know, to recoup the loss that we spent on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, what were you going to say, True?
Yeah, I agree with Kev. Where did they get the money from? How did they make a profit? Are they making profits with people attending their shows? No one goes to their shows. I don't know where they're getting the money from when they pay their fighters so much money.
I guess they're going to make a big loss.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say, though, Cam, and back to what Kev said, even though that the fights have been worse this year, though, like, has the amount of money that Heyman's been funding his fighters, has that really changed?
I think you know there's a problem when Heyman starts signing up all these kind of strange, obscure guys. Probably not because he wants them, but probably because they're the only fighters that he can afford at the moment.
I mean, that's a fair point, but I think there's another side to that as well, in that he's signing a lot of those guys who are ranked guys or guys who have belts so that he can just feed and rob his more, you know, popular fighters with that
opponents.
Exactly. He wants to get opponents. You know, but I don't know.
That's what these cards are turning into. It's just like squash matches. It's like the wrestling back in the day. It would be like just
Yo, did you just call them jobbers, Chew? The guys that just be up in there with no uniform, just the underwear and the full name, not like not a nickname.
Joe the plumber.
Literally Rob the school teacher, you know?
Billy the bricklayer.
All these guys. What do you call it? Freaking Melina the gardener. But
Who was that guy? Oh, fucking
Barry Horowitz.
Aye, what was his moniker? But what was his like?
When he used to pat himself on the back.
That was Rod Salker.
And Rod Stalker.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, and Rod Salker, like, I think he just signed up a fight, and he's fighting at like what 135 or 130 his next fight. 130, I think he's fighting at. He just fought at a 143 catchweight or whatever.
It's like Rocky's trainer, Mick. You're fighting nothing but bums. These guys are getting it the easy life.
Yo, guys,
the Peter Collins and the Danny Garcias.
Don't shit on Rod Salker. He's a good trainer.
I know you feel so. I don't give a fuck how you feel. You can feel that way after.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck how you feel. You can feel that way after.
Who was he training?
And the sad part, he was training a guy who was basically beating Berto the first half of the fight.
Yeah, it's true, man. That was a weird fight.
My goodness.
Going back to
Cam, I'm sorry, I cut you off, Cam. Who would you prefer as Canelo's first opponent? Because, you know, at the end of the day, I think the first opponent is going to be somebody they're going to want to give Canelo a chance to look really good against. Yeah. To be like, hey, welcome back to the network and have him look good. That's why I think the Kirkland Rosado fight falling apart is big because if he gets Rosado and he gets to, you know, bust his face open, that would look real good on TV.
Oh yeah.
That was a nice as fuck segue, by the way. that was smooth as fuck, man.
I've been working, man. I've been working.
That'd be a host of Cito Part 2 right there, man.
Yeah, with me, I agree with Kev. Like, the December fight doesn't matter to me. I'm not really bothered. I'm more bothered about the May fight, and to me, I want it to be Cotto, man, because I'm a big Cotto fan. Cotto's my favorite.
It's going to be Cotto.
Huh?
There's no alternative. Like, how can it not be Cotto if Canelo wins on December?
Yeah, they're doing this for a reason.
You know, boxing though, you can never say 100% with boxing. Like
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure.
And you know Cotto, and Cam, you just said you're a Cotto fan. He's never backed away from a challenge. You know what I mean? And you know, this would be a good fight. It would just be about working out the logistics of the money split and the venue. But I think the fact that this fight's in December is good because if he wins, and the fact that Cotto's not fighting until next year, they could basically start negotiations right away. They have months to get it together.
Is Cotto still like a kind of free agent where he could go to Showtime if he wanted to, or has he signed back to HBO?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
he said that from the jump, but I never believed him. I never believed for a second that he said, you know, I'm a free agent, I'm not gonna, you know, commit to any network. But I've always knew that his relationship with Todd DeBuff meant he was gonna fight on Top Rank cards for the rest of his career.
Yeah, he's not directly signed to Top Rank, but Top Rank has options with him or some shit, and they advise him pretty much, like, you know what I mean? So they co-promote his events. You know what I mean?
All I know
they let Cotto put on the undercard of the Sergio Martinez, but it was really co-promoted and put on by Top Rank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my concern is I agree with you guys. I think that Cotto is probably the only fight for me, but my concern is maybe Mayweather might fly in and take the Cotto fight away from Canelo. That's my only concern.
You gotta understand, Cotto already took a Trout fight when he could have had like a Canelo fight lined up because he wanted a belt and he thought, you know, Trout was a tough challenge. So he's kind of like a man of principle a little bit in his way too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cam, you're saying that you're afraid that Cotto is going to take the Mayweather fight if Mayweather offers it to him?
I think if Mayweather offers him big money, because Mayweather would like that middleweight title on his resume, so I could see Cotto maybe going over there.
But Cam, isn't that good for boxing too, though? Because wouldn't you rather see Cotto Mayweather than Mayweather versus, I know he's your boy, but Khan or somebody like that?
No,
wouldn't you rather see like a pre-fight build-up with a Roach opponent going after Mayweather?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I would prefer Cotto Canelo.
Yeah.
I would prefer Cotto Canelo.
True.
But you know what, though? I honestly think HBO knows how important that May date is. And, you know, the fact that Canelo said so adamantly that he's going to take over the May and September dates, I think they'd be willing to dish out a lot of money for that fight for Canelo Cotto, to the point where, like, Mayweather would be put in a position of whether he really wants to give that much money to his opponent.
See, the thing is, like, the last couple of years, Mayweather's always fought a Mexican in May. So if he's going to fight Cotto, you know, they're not going to be the ones. It'll be the Mexicans. I wonder how many Mexicans buy Floyd's pay-per-view. Probably quite a few 100,000, I would say. And if Canelo's going to fight in May, they're all going to watch Canelo.
I don't know about that.
But the cable providers aren't going to allow 2 boxing pay-per-views on the same date, though. They're not going to split their market, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, a lot of the people that order pay-per-views are the same market, so they're robbing from Peter to pay Paul. They won't be able to buy both.
I think Mayweather's got no choice but to fight Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said that from the beginning.
This is it. He's got no choice. This is once and for all. If you don't fight Pacquiao, you're
if you don't fight Pacquiao and Canelo and Cotto make that fight, Floyd's going to pull the old, I need time to rest, I'm working with an all-new team, and I'm going to fight in September, and act like he didn't have the date taken from him.
I hope that's what happens. We need that guy out of the fucking sport, man. I'm just happy. I'm just happy and impressed with the way Canelo just, you know, said straight up from the jump, you know, I'm going to take back these Mexican dates because I'm a Mexican. I was like, that's some badass shit right there, man. You got my props for that one. And the fact that he said he'd be willing to fight Triple G.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to not take his word, because his recent track record shows that he is not afraid to take tough fights and the best guys out there. But if he somehow pulls together a 2015 where he fights Cotto and Triple G, even if he goes 0-2, he still did what needed to be done for boxing.
Nah, he ain't losing to Cotto, man. I don't understand.
I'm not saying Lim. You know me.
I know.
I'd favor him, but I'm just saying, even if he were go 0-2, like, he just lifted boxing that much higher in that 1 year.
You can't forget about King Rosado too, though.
I've forgotten about him.
I see Cotto and Canelo as a 50-50.
No, I don't. I really don't see it. Why? I mean, why? After one fight with a 40-50% Sergio Martinez, you think he's going to be able to fight a guy that's going to have like 15 pounds on him? And Canelo, stylistically, like, he does best against fighters like Cotto.
And it's good that you did say 15 pounds heavier, because Freddie Roach in the first camp, the Delvin Rodriguez camp, was saying how fast Cotto's losing weight. He was like, I don't see why this guy wouldn't be able to fight at 147 still, because he's basically on weight 4 or 5 weeks out. So it's just like, and then the next fight he went up to 160. You know what I mean? So he's like everybody knows, he's not a 160 pounder. He's a small 54 pounder. And Canelo's a really big 54 pounder. And if he fights at 60, he's still a big 60 pounder.
I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, what is Cotto going to do? Is he going to stalk Canelo the same way he did Sergio? And you really don't think he's going to leave out of each round, like, just, you know, scathed after all those competition punches?
I think that is just going to be a war. No one's going to take a back step, and they're just going to be in the center of the ring going. I think it'll be a really, really good fight.
But when has Cotto ever survived a war?
True.
When has he ever done good in wars?
No, you make a good point, Dan. You make a good point.
No. To play devil's advocate.
Nah, don't even.
When has Canelo ever? Would Cotto be the hardest hitting fighter he fought?
I mean, I guess you can say that, but again, you just said it yourself. The guy's a small junior middleweight, man.
Yeah, but you know, there's junior middleweights that hit harder than middleweights and stuff. We know that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think you're right. You're right. When you're hitting a guy who's 15, 20 pounds heavier, you know, the target doesn't seem to move as much as when you hit a guy that's your size.
I'm a huge believer in that. Like, weight classes mean a lot in boxing.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't have him if it didn't.
Canelo's like a 1.5 weight class bigger than Cotto is. So I don't really see his punches doing as much damage as people think. So, yeah. And honestly, where was that Cotto power at 154? And I know he looked great against Sergio, but again, that was a 40%, 50% hobbled Sergio. What's Cotto's track record at junior middleweight?
I don't. I'm just a. You're right. He didn't do. He beat Yuri Foreman. That's his best win at 54. You know what I mean? I'm not on him. And I mentioned it during Cotto's training for Martinez. Even though I picked Martinez, I was like, wow, I can't believe like Freddie Roach got him hitting the bag hard, hitting the pads hard. And before that, you saw him training with that new school style, basically just touching the bag, just touching the pads. And I was like, I just felt Freddie Roach really brought the power back from Cotto. And he was thumping that bag and thumping the pads in training, man.
It'll be good.
The only everybody's a winner in that. If that's can't miss fight. Right. Period.
Okay.
I'll see you guys in New York when that happens.
No.
I don't think it's happening in New York.
Honestly, like I'm already getting tickets I'm going to the December fight. I don't care who it is. I'm gonna go there to support my boy. But when that Cotto Canelo fights happen, the day it gets announced, I'm getting my flight. Or not my flight, my tickets to the fight.
Cam, you really think that Canelo let it go to New York?
Most probably not. The only reason it's in New York, it's just easy for me to get to. The flight's a bit easier.
Vegas, right? Because it wouldn't be New York or it wouldn't be San Antonio, so it'd be Vegas. You know, it wouldn't be Texas, it wouldn't be New York, so go to Vegas.
I could see it being Vegas, to be honest. The only reason I thought I want it to be New York is because then I can
because UK fly over.
That, but I can trick my wife into it. It's like it's a holiday, so I can say, "Oh, we're going to New York for a holiday." Like she wouldn't want to go to Vegas, but she'd go to New York and then say, "Oh, I'm just going to go to the boxing tonight," and then leave her at the hotel and go to the boxing and come back. You know, where I can't do that if it's Vegas. But I think if it's Vegas, it just have to be a boys' holiday. So. But Chu, who would you favour in Canelo versus Cotto?
I think it's a 50-50 fight. I would slightly favour Canelo, but you know, Cotto's capable of winning, especially if she's got that trainer, the fitness trainer. I think
Gavin. That's assault.
That's assault.
That's assault.
Nah. The thing with Cotto is he's been, whatever people say, he's a small 154, but it's just given him a new lease of life. It's just reinvigorated him, and I think he would give Canelo problems. Canelo's got stamina problems. If Cotto goes to the body, I think he could have fun. You know, it could be an enjoyable fight.
So you think he could take his gas tank by going to the body?
I think that's his only choice. I mean, if he goes toe to toe, then he's in trouble. But if he's kind of strategic about it and sticks to his game plan, you know, Canelo can be outboxed. It's been shown that he can be outboxed by Floyd. You know, I thought he beat Lara, but Lara kind of showed he can get outboxed as well. So, see what you want about Cotto. He's a technician as well. He'll probably be, after Mayweather, the best technician he's faced. So I think Cotto's got a great chance.
Yeah, my only concern is what Dan said earlier about the combination punching, because with Cotto you might block the first two, but the third and the fourth might get through, and we always see the state of Cotto's face after the fights. He doesn't look in great shape, but I'll definitely be backing Cotto for that fight, because like I said, he's my favourite fighter, so... it's just I do see the combination punches being an issue, but like you said, Chu, like if he starts landing those left hooks to the body, and we know Canelo's got stamina issues, you know, like those body shots are really going to start taking effect later on in the round. So it's definitely going to be a good fight. Dave, are you still on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
I know you're a big Cotto fan, so presumably I think you'd go for Cotto in that.
Well, you know, my head says Canelo, but my heart, of course, says Cotto. You know, I do see a couple advantages Cotto has, and even though he does kind of fade towards the end of his fights, he does bring quite a bit of volume, you know what I mean? And I actually think with the right kind of pressure, you know, with smart pressure and activity, man, he could definitely steal rounds. That's not an issue. And I just can't see Canelo stopping him, you know? I don't think Canelo brings the amount of pressure it would take to really make Cotto buckle, you know? He's not bringing the kind of pressure that Margarito did.
Definitely. Anyone else got anything to say about Cotto going to HBO Canelo going to HBO or the Cotto Canelo fight or any other fights with Canelo? Because I want to touch on maybe the Kirkland Rosado fight not happening. I've not really looked at any boxing news today, but from what I hear, is it Kirkland who's pulled out?
Yeah, Kirkland pulled out.
And did he give any reason?
Dispute over money, thinking the promoter 50 Cent was taking too much money, and basically they tried to explain to Kirkland that this is like a standard deal, and Kirkland just, can't comprehend the contracts and reason. So I don't know.
I think Kirkland must have took the black pill today. Not feeling too good.
He's just out of his mind, man. You can't blame. I think most boxing outlets, put articles out pretty much like, Kirkland's his own worst enemy, and Kirkland has nobody to blame but himself and stuff like that. So.
Yep. Has Rosado said anything about what he's going to do next?
Nah, I haven't seen Rosado, and usually he does a bunch of YouTube videos, whether it be Sekback or whoever. So I'm sure we'll see him post something soon, or the Raging Babe post something soon.
The Raging Ape.
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they just slide Rosado right into the Canelo fight.
I think Kirkland is crazy.
Yeah, he's out of his fucking mind.
Why is he doing this to his career? It's one thing losing Dan Wolf, but to just turn down every good fight that you've got.
What? Has he lost Dan Wolf? He's not working with Dan Wolf anymore.
I think, I think he's back, but I mean, he's dropped her on the past. It just means he has this kind of problem.
I thought he's dropped her again. That's why I was asking.
I think you're right. He did drop her again.
Oh, so he's not working with Dan Wolf anymore?
He's not working with anybody right now, and rumors are he's like 220.
The situation is like a boxer's shelf life is short. You need to do something. You don't want to get to 35, 36 and think, oh shit, I wasted all those years. Kirkland's just wasting his career, man. It's terrible. But let me get to a caller if I can find his soundbite. No, I can't find it. Jose, you there?
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
What's happening, Jose?
What's it?
Long time no talk, my friends. How are you guys doing?
Jose, you too busy making money and spending it all in Las Vegas?
Yeah, man. I had to go down and, meet with Oscar De La Hoya, man. We had some private meetings down there.
Getting famous in Ellie Setback videos, Jose.
Yeah, I heard, man. People saying I'm trying to give my wife away, man. You guys are mean.
No, we were just fucking with you, Jose. But Jose, what do you think about Canelo going to HBO?
I mean, I know that two people always spoke of HBO being king, man. That was me and Chu.
Yep.
Right? So we always said HBO was always going to be king, even when everyone thought Showtime was the shit, man. So
yep.
Of course, man. I'm not surprised one bit. That's where Canelo deserves to be, man. HBO is always going to be the best of the two programs, right? So I'm glad to see him there.
Me as well. I think Canelo's he's the future of the sport, and he deserves to be on the biggest platform, which is HBO.
Yeah. And HBO built the young guys that were actually pulling numbers over at Showtime. The Broner and Canelo and stuff. HBO built those guys, and now Canelo's coming back, and we'll see.
I mean, I strongly believe that HBO. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. It is what it is because of Michael Buffer, man. He's the guy that makes it. you go to a fight or you watch a fight on TV, it's just much more exciting when it's buffers saying, like, let's get ready to rumble, you know?
Yeah.
And that other guy's just lame, you know, with the, it's showtime, you know?
Well, you're hating on Jimmy Lennon Jr. Don't hate on Jimmy Lennon Jr.
I think that plays a role. Everything plays a role. Like, even the entrance, like, the HBO theme song and shit like that.
Truck.
It just seems more legit. Like,
No,
you know?
you guys being serious, do you think that really makes an effect on people's view?
It definitely does. I know casuals who, when they watch Showtime, if somebody announces the fight, they're like, "Yo, where's the get ready to rumble dude?" Like, they just assume he does all the big fights.
All the best
it's
fights.
not a big fight if he's not doing it.
All the best fights over the years, the biggest fights have always been on HBO, so it's just ingrained in your mind that HBO is bigger and better.
True. But Jose, we kind of discussed earlier about maybe Canelo having a easier fight in December and then possibly the Cotto fight in May. Like, how do you see that fight playing out if Canelo Cotto fight in May?
I don't know. I have to go with Canelo, man. A year ago, before the Cotto Martinez fight, I thought that Canelo would put him in a body bag. I mean, Cotto obviously, you know, showed to be pretty impressive by putting away Martinez, but I would still put my money on Canelo, man, and I'd still look at a stoppage. But, like, who knows who the real Cotto is? That's the question, though, right?
Jose, you don't think that Cotto's got a good chance? How much of a chance?
I just don't think so, man. Like, look at the Cotto we've known for the last 3-4 years, man. It's a Cotto who we all love because he's a warrior, but he's always gotten beaten up. Like, I mean, I know that, like, you know, he beat Martinez and he beat him badly, but, man, even people who picked Cotto deep down pretty much thought that you know, Martinez was going to kill him. And if it happened, no one would have been surprised. The fact that Cotto beat him the way he beat him was shocking. And had Martinez done that to Cotto, nobody would have been surprised, I don't think.
Yo, I picked Cotto, by the way, and I wasn't surprised.
Were you weren't surprised that he manhandled Martinez the way he did?
I didn't think it was really a manhandling, but no, I wasn't surprised.
I don't think anybody ever could have predicted that he would have knocked down Martinez 3 times in the first round, you know?
I think the thing with that is there was always a question about Sergio's knee, and clearly it wasn't right. So you give Cotto credit for doing what he did, but with an asterisk, you know.
Yeah, but when was the last time
knee.
Cotto really looked impressive, though?
Before that, I thought he looked good against Floyd.
I mean, I didn't. I honestly thought Floyd could have stopped him when he was, like, snapping his head back there in the 11th, I think, or the 12th.
Man, I had a draw going into the last round. And then Floyd had a big 12th round, and that swung it in Floyd's favour. I thought that fight was close. And I think Cotto is the second best person that Canelo will fight. In the Austin Trout, I know we don't do triangle theories on the coalition, but he was competitive.
You always do triangle theories.
I know. That was ironic. But Austin Trout is their common opponent and has been competitive with both of them. So I just think that the way that Cotto he did manhandle Sergio. The way he manhandled Sergio is a good omen for how he's going to do against Canelo. I think it'll be close. Either way.
Well, the good thing is it's going to be the biggest fight in boxing, you know? So, I mean, that's good. I'm glad for both those guys. Like, Canelo for, like, having the balls to fight the best competition, and because of that, he can make the biggest fight in boxing without it involving Floyd Mayweather, right? So, props to him. And I'm happy for Cotto, too, because, you know, he's a guy he is one of the superstars of boxing, and he deserves also to be in a big fight, right? So, I mean, I'm happy for both of them, right?
See, Jose's a good barometer because he likes the sexy matchups. So, like, when things like this get him pumped, then you know it's a hit. You know what I mean?
Oh, this fight's sexy as hell, man. There's no way around that. Like, it's huge, huge. The only thing that makes me wonder is Floyd gonna pull, like, the Manny Pacquiao, like, card out of his sleeve now? He has to.
But what I was arguing before is that's good for boxing. If this move forces that hand, we get a Pacquiao fight instead of a fucking Amir Khan type of fight or something. That's good for boxing too.
The only thing I'm worried about is Manny Pacquiao seems to be talking more about Floyd than Chris Algieri. And you're fighting Algieri next. I think he's just taking the eye off the ball a little bit.
And Algieri's just a physical nightmare for Pacquiao. He's like 5-6 inches taller. His arms are long, and his strong hands, his front hand, his left hand.
Yeah, it's a surprising fight. You know what I mean? But I still think that Algieri doesn't punch hard enough to keep Manny off him. I think when Manny has to, he'll walk through it. It's not going to be easy. He's going to have to walk through it.
Talk about Manny Pacquiao. One of the 3 fights mentioned when Canelo was announced going over to HBO is Pacquiao, possibly. Out of the 3, Pacquiao, Triple G, and Cotto, I see that the least, just because I'm thinking, what type of weight would that be? And it would have to be some type of catch weight, and I can't really see Manny wanting to give the advantage to Canelo, really. What do you think, Chu?
I think Manny should fight Golovkin. Why not at catch weight? 154.
Really? I'm talking about Canelo and Manny, but
Canelo and Manny, I think that'll never happen.
Why? Because
Canelo can't make 150, and seriously, Manny won't go to 154. So it's just a pipe dream. And Canelo said he would go down in weight, but I can't see it, man. 152, maybe, I don't know.
And if Canelo was to fight Triple G, maybe thinking a catch weight 157 or something, or do you think Triple G would bring him up to 160?
I don't think Triple G can really call the shots. I think if Canelo makes Triple G go down to 154, I think Triple G goes down to 154. I don't think it's the other way about. I think that would be a great fight. But Triple G's a beast. Canelo's not going to fight him in 2015. Canelo's got an advantage over Triple G, and that's age. He can maybe wait a couple years, then fight him. You can maybe just, hello?
Yeah, still here.
You can maybe just wait until he gets old.
When is the last time Canelo? I'm trying to get a box right now, but my computer is slow as hell. When's the last time he fought at 154? Because I'm thinking if he fights Triple G, if I was Canelo, I'd probably want to catch weight at like 156 or something, just because, I can't remember the last time he made 154.
Trout,
right, that was a while ago. So you had Floyd, that was 152, and obviously he was drained as fuck, and then Angulo, and then Lara, so yeah, I think he'd have to be at least 157, just for Canelo to come in healthy.
See, the thing with Manny is, I'm a fan of Manny, but he's the catchweight king. It is true. He's always fucking making fighters go up 2 pounds and down 2 pounds. And all this shit.
But Chew, people talk about when he fought Oscar, and Oscar came down to 47. It's like, didn't Manny a 5 months earlier fight at 135? Everybody still thought Oscar was way too big and gonna run through him. And when he fought Margarito, he was still coming up. You know what I mean? And but I just think that fight isn't gonna happen, because when it got brought up months ago, Freddie Roach mentioned 150, and Canelo said any discussion or negotiation that starts with a catch weight ends with that catch weight. Because after Floyd, I'm never going below 154 again.
Well, Kev, it's been a while since I've said this, but I'll play devil's advocate here, mate. What's easier for the body, going up 2 weight classes or going down 1? I think going down 1 is worse for you.
I totally understand what you're saying, Chu, but when you get in the ring with a guy that's much bigger than you, it's a big difference. After Pacquiao fought Margarito at like 150 whatever they fought at. He basically said, I can't fight this high anymore. They said he was laying in the bed like the next day, just beat up from those body shots. Like he just, he's not a big guy. Like, what's his name? Roach has been trying to get him down to 140 for years. He's like, the only reason why we went up to 47 is because the Oscar fight was there. And then we kept having so much success and the money was there. And we stayed at 47 because the Floyd fight was there. But at the end of the day, like, that's why he's fighting Algeria at a catch weight of like 44. They want to, or whatever it is, because they want to see how he makes it. Because if he makes it comfortable, and they could know, all right, we can go back down to 40, and that's why they've been talking Danny Garcia and shit like that.
But what if, like, one thing we're missing here, man, that we might not even be thinking of? What if Oscar De La Hoya and his camp offer Manny Pacquiao a huge money fight to let go of the Mayweather fight, if it happens to be offered to him, to take on the winner of a Cotto Canelo, right?
Yeah, anything's possible right now. Like, I think that's why it's good. Like, I've been pretty down on boxing, and I've been talking about it for like the last 2 weeks. Like, after like the dealing with Flomos for like a week or two, like, I don't know, I've just been like real down on it. Now after like this signing, like, it re-energized me. I'm like, you know what, anything can happen. And like, Jose, when you say stuff like that, like, some people might say it sounds far-fetched, but in reality, anything could happen right now. Like you said, like, there's just a lot of power brokers and a lot of things up in the air. And once big money gets involved, who's to say something can't happen?
I mean, I honestly wouldn't put it, like, if Manny was fighting Canelo, I mean, I would probably consider that to be a closer fight than Manny versus Cotto. As crazy, Cotto versus Canelo, as crazy as it sounds. I like Manny's chances versus Canelo better than Cotto's chances, right?
I think Manny's just completely disrespected now. A lot of people talk about him like he's some type of bum. Like, this guy's not an all-time great. Like, his last couple fights, all right, he had the Rios fight, but he still fought Bradley twice and Marquez fight. He's been fighting the top guys in his division for a while now.
Yeah, I'm not disrespectful. I just think that his chin's been cracked. Before he's before he had one of the best chins in boxing, but now it's been cracked. I just think he's been matched carefully.
Yeah, his punch resistance has gone down a little bit.
I think people think he's Roy Jones Jr., man, after Tarver. I don't think that's the case, man. I think, like, he went in the next fight against a fucking, like, a heavy hitter with Rios. If he had a broken chin, he wouldn't be afraid of that guy. Because Brandon Rios
he didn't land. He wasn't fast enough, Jose. He wasn't fast enough, Jose. That was the thing, Jose. Rios was strong enough to hurt Manny, but he wasn't fast enough to catch him.
He was PED Rios, though. He was Ariza Rios. Pop positive.
Yeah, I mean, Rios is just, even if he's got Red Bull in him or whatever that juice is that he took before the fight, he's just not fast enough to catch him.
Nah, you're right. I was tongue in cheek on that one.
Nah, but
I just hate Alex Ariza right now. He's just a fucking snake.
I just think I agree with you on Ariza, but in terms of Manny's last 3 opponents, one of them wasn't fast enough. The other one was Tim Bradley, who doesn't hit hard enough, and he's gone with Algeria again, who doesn't hit hard enough. Mm-hmm. So I think they're hiding some chandelier.
I hear you. They're trying to protect that paper mache.
Yep. that is the thing. They want to protect the moneymaker.
And Bradley did rock him a couple times. And Bradley's a guy who's not heavy-handed. Granted, Bradley was admittedly swinging for the fences and swinging from the heels, but he rocked Pacquiao twice, and that shouldn't happen. And he did. He hurt him twice.
That's why I would give Danny Garcia a good chance against Manny if that fight ever.
If he lands that left hook, the eyes closed, wild left hook.
Oh, game over.
Yeah, I hope Ness doesn't hear this and start arguing like his eyes were open when he hit Khan, but
yeah,
his eyes were closed and he just let it fly.
That kind of look away hook, that's quite popular. I mean, Manny Pacquiao knocked out Ricky Hatton with that.
Yeah. I think that would be a great fight, Danny Garcia and Pacquiao. I think I would love that fight.
It's not enough money for Manny. I don't think it's fair, man. Like, Floyd gets to fight against people like that, and he makes 25, 30 million. If Pacquiao fights, like, how much is he making for Algieri? Like, probably $8 million tops?
Nah, he's going to make more than that. He took a pay cut because after that Bradley fight didn't do so well on pay-per-views, the reason why he's going back to Macau is because Macau's site fees are out of this world. And they're paying 3 or 4 times what Vegas is paying for the fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pacquiao still walks away with some type of 14, 15 million or whatever. But like I said, I have no idea. I doubt Pacquiao's fighting for $8 million though.
I still think Manny Pacquiao's lifestyle. We talk about Floyd's lifestyle, but Manny Pacquiao's lifestyle is fucking quite expensive as well. He needs a bigger paycheck. He's probably been accustomed to making more money than what he's been making now that he's been knocked out. And I think that's why he wants the Floyd fight. You know, you see him in the media now. He's actually he's basically calling Floyd out every chance he gets. Even in boxing scene now, you know, he's calling out Floyd. So
how much would he make though, Chew, if he fought Floyd like in May?
I think he'd make, what is he getting, 15 million or something for this fight, or 18 million? I think he'd make double that at least.
I don't know. He turned down 40 million a while ago. Like if he makes 45, if he takes 45% or even 40%, he's making a ton of money because that fight's, I don't care what anybody says, how people say they don't want to see it anymore, that fight's over. That fight's still doing almost 3 million pay-per-views in my mind.
Yeah, easily.
And if it does do that 3 million, then he's making 50, 60 million dollars. And Floyd's making 100+ million.
I tell you what though, if Floyd offered him 40 million now, I bet you Manny Pacquiao bites his hand off. I would.
Yeah, I don't think Floyd would offer him more than 25 million. Like Floyd just, I think now that he has kind of Manny at his mercy, I think he's going to try to offer him less, and that's why I'm thinking maybe De La Hoya backdoors him and gives him like 25 million for the Cotto Canelo winner, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we're all speculating right now. Like we have no idea. But I don't think he takes 40 million flat fee. I don't think that's realistic. That's basically, this fight's going to generate about $200 million for the fighters and the promotion. So that's basically taking an 80-20 split, and I just don't think that's realistic. He fell off, and he's not as big a star as he was, but that Bradley pay-per-view still did close to 800,000, and the Mayweather versus Maidana that happened, you know, at the same time only did 850. So they're not that far apart in stardom anymore, as much as people like to think. I mean, Floyd's still the king, but it's not like it's not a big disparity like people make it out to be. Like that Rios fight, everybody knew. Like Top Rank didn't even think they were going to make 500K pay-per-views. They went over there for Macau and for the market and to get the site fees, and that's why they're doing it again.
Yeah.
Any final points, guys? Because I just want to have a little rant about the Billy Joe Saunders and Chris EubankJr. situation, and I just want to keep the show short, maybe like an hour and a half. Don't want to go too long, to be honest. So, any final thoughts about Canelo? I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, Canelo's the boss.
Team thickness, baby. That goes out
That's
to Dan.
it. Team tank tops. Team short shorts.
Yeah, all the fans are behind me. I'm the number one guy that started it all, and you guys know it. The British boys know that.
Jose, you predict everything right, so no one's going to say anything against you.
Yeah.
Apart from you trying to sell your wife. Okay, here's my rant.
Is Jose not top of the predictions league?
No, he's not at the top. Actually, I need to check the top. I think Captain Jack's joint first with 2 other people. So, but let me get to that later. Let me have a little rant about Frank Warren. Frank, fuck you, Frank. You fucking make me lose money every time I buy tickets to your fight. I'm not going to buy a ticket to your fight again. Today it was announced that the fight between Billy Joe and Chris Eubank Jr. is not going ahead. After last week, it was announced that it's on the undercard of the Fury Chisora fight on November 29th. After that was announced, I thought, fuck that, this is not a bad bill. I'm going to go to this. Order some tickets. Find out today that Eubank's not signed the contracts. So why is Frank Warren announcing the fight? You know, I've looked in boxing scene. Eubank Jr. is saying that Warren wanted to kind of rush it and force the fight upon him. He tried to make him sign it without his lawyers not fully reading it and not fully going through all the small print and the details. So I'm not really, even though I'm a bit peed off with Eubank Jr. because he should have came out and said something. When this fight was announced, he should have went on Twitter and saying, guys, just so you guys know, I've not signed the contract yet. We're still in negotiation. I looked at his Twitter. He was quiet. I think he announced his birthday or something like that, and then didn't mention anything. Billy Joe was on Twitter saying that I'm going to knock him out, blah blah blah. But Frank, he said he had a verbal agreement with either Eubank Jr. or Senior or both. And to me, in this day and age, a verbal agreement is not good enough. If you're hosting a big multi-million-pound fight, you can't have verbal agreements. You need something signed before you announce anything. You know, people are paying hard-earned money, you know, to buy these tickets. And fair enough, you get a refund, but you don't get a refund on your booking fee. So people, like I've lost out on the last Fury Chisora fight because Chisora got injured and I lost the booking fee. So this is definitely something that needs to be addressed, man, because Frank Warren is just taking the piss out of the honest boxing fans in the UK that just want to watch good fights.
So wait a minute, Cam. Frank Warren made him wait 3 weeks before letting him see the contract.
Well, I think Warren was saying that he'd shown him the contract, but he had not signed it, and yet he had announced the fight. He had announced the fight on the 15th of this month, I think. And today they had a press conference, and Eubank didn't show up. And Warren said Eubank has till 5 p.m. to sign the contract and make the fight happen. It's a total farce to me. It's total farce. And Ari said it to me. And London Box, shout out to London Box in the chat, said Eubank is going to Matchroom. And I could see that happening, you know. I can see this happening. But Ari, you said you wanted to touch on the subject.
I told you not to buy them tickets.
Oh, man. But, you feel me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, man, but you know Warren already, man. Like, I never really fully thought the fight would happen because, as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of Eubank. I think I think he's addicted to bums, man. So I think you must only go over to Hearn now. They'll restart him like Warren did, just like how Hennessy did. He's gonna fight a few Europeans. Then most probably he'll fight Ryder next year or something like that. But this fight ain't happening. Definitely not happening. And if it doesn't happen, he's definitely not going to be on Box Nation because Warren's pissed, obviously. You know what I mean? Warren's looked like a fool again, but again, at the same time, it's Warren's fault, like you said. Why is Warren keep announcing fights when they're not signed on the dotted line? That's all I really got to say, man. It's just Frank Warren. Same shit he did with Chisora Wilder.
Yeah.
That's because Frank Warren's the Antichrist.
Let me get to Joe because he's got really bad feedback. Joe, are you there?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Not bad, Joe. What do you want to discuss?
You guys going to start doing random shows now? Because, you know, that's pretty sweet.
It was just because we were all waiting up for the Boxing Voice, and then I think Ness has had some tooth issues, so we just thought we'd just do a bit of a show.
Yeah, shout out to Ness, by the way. And Vic.
Well, I was wondering what happened. But no, you guys care if I go back to the Pacquiao contract thing?
Go ahead.
Okay, somebody's gonna have to explain this to me. Let's say, you know, you go back. I'm just gonna pull a random fight, the Garcia-Matisse fight. Garcia didn't pay Matisse to fight him. Okay, the promoter pays the fighters. So when Mayweather says he offers Pacquiao money, how does that work? Because Pacquiao is a promotion with Top Rank, so Top Rank is gonna pay Manny based on, you know, however much money the networks put into the fight. So how does Floyd get to dictate how much money Manny makes if he's already under contract with Top Rank? You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't, I mean, I don't understand. Is he fronting money and then, you know, Top Rank pays Floyd? Like, I mean, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah.
I think what he's basically saying is, I'll pay you the money up front, and all money that comes into the promotion of this fight, that's generated, will basically come to me on top after we reach that 40 million that goes to. When he says pay Manny, I believe he's basically saying it goes to Manny and Top Rank being their one entity. So however they need to split that up, they split that up.
Wow. Yeah.
Because the way that boxing produces revenue, like the promotions produce revenue, is basically, the pay-per-views come out. Half goes to the provider, Dish Network, DirecTV, whatever. You know what I mean? So then they're left with half. And now whatever deal they make with, say, Showtime or HBO, whatever cut they get for that, the fighters and the promotion get the rest. Then the live gate, generally Showtime won't have a piece of that unless it's like worked into it, Showtime and HBO, unless it's worked into it. But also the live gate, the promotions have to cover the concessions, security, various things that are at the gate. I don't know how the closed circuit works out, you know what I mean? But basically he's saying that, whatever comes in, I'm keeping above 40 because you guys just get the 40 flat. That was his crux to the deal. And basically I was explaining is they're going to make well over 200 million. So that's like an 80-20 split. And why the fuck would, at the time, Pac was the second highest paid athlete in the world in 2012. The number 2 guy in the sport. Why would he take an 80-20 split?
Yeah, it wouldn't happen because number one, like I said, Manny's under, contract with Top Rank, and they're going to be heavily involved in the negotiations for that fight. Yeah. And you want to know why Manny turned down the $40 million deal. Well, we all know Manny just does what Bob says. I mean, whether that's good or bad, it is what it is. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but that's why that didn't happen. He's under contract. Now, let's say, for example, he was like Arislandi Lara. Lara isn't under contract with anybody. He just has a manager, which is Al Heyman. Now, in that situation, it could work. Floyd could say, here's the money. You're going to get this money, and that's it. But because Pacquiao's already under contract, that would never happen. There's no way Floyd would be allowed to negotiate and say, here, I'm paying you the money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That would never happen.
Yeah, but that's the problem is he puts out that story when he made the phone call to Pacquiao, and Pacquiao basically handed the phone to Michael Conson and says, talk to Conson Arum. And Floyd puts out, I talked to Manny, and Manny didn't want to do nothing. He gave the phone away. Like, what the fuck do you expect? He's not as... He can't,
yeah, and that was,
you know what I mean? He can't.
Yeah, that was on ESPN the next day. There's a reason it was on ESPN is because ESPN is watched by the most casual fans, and they're going to believe that.
Stephen A. Smith is a Flomo, and he basically came out and reported that he offered Manny $40 million, and there's reports that he only makes $8 million because they basically report the NSAC money, because basically Bob will only pay out Pacquiao. Say there's a $20 million guarantee in the contract. He might only pay him out $8 million the night of the fight. And, the athletic commission has to pay the fighters that night. So they'll report like an $8 million pay. And they're like, Pacquiao ain't making $20 million. He's only making $8 million. No, that's what he's getting paid the night of the fight. Bob waits till he recoups his money from the live gate, the pay-per-view, and then he pays, Pacquiao. He's not paying all out of pocket.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny because the split, I mean, everybody says how big this fight would be. Even now, it would do 2.5, 3 million pay-per-view buys, and then a lot of Floyd says well, here's $40 million, which is like you said, like an 80-20 split, if not worse. How can you split the money that sparsely between you and your opponent when you're already admitting that the pay-per-view is so large? That's because of who the opponent is, not just Mayweather.
Yeah, and the funny thing is they always say that, and the Flomos will say, well, Manny ain't never made $40 million. Well, Floyd never made 160. What's your point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't talk to their irrational fans.
Joe,
well, that's all I wanted to say to you guys. You can mute me if you want. That's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you, Joe, for phoning, yeah? Where are you from, Joe?
Oh, Illinois, the States.
Shout out to Illinois. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Great Lakes?
No, way Midwest, south of that, central Illinois.
U.S. Navy, I was in Great Lakes for boot camp.
I don't even think they know boxing exists where I live, man. So,
all right, Joe. Take it easy. Thanks a lot. Chew, I think on Monday you had some technical issues and you didn't get your view across about Abraham versus Paul Smith. So you want to give your 2 cents?
Oh shit, that up. No, I did. I predicted Abraham would win by controversial decision.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I think you never know, man. I think Abraham's on his way out. So you never know, bro.
I'm going for Smith, maybe like a split decision or majority decision or something. But seeing as though we're talking about UK, they've kind of scripted in November 22nd for Bellew and Cleverly Part 2. Like, how do you see that fight going, Chew?
Just the same as the first one, I think, but Bellew would get the decision this time. I think, yeah, Bellew's improved a little bit, man, and Cleverly's went backwards, so I think Bellew would win.
Yeah, like, I don't really like Tony Bellew, man, but I think the weight's going to be better for him. I think his experience he's gained is going to be better. Cleverly's not really fought anyone at cruiserweight so far, really. Like, just I think he's only fought once, I think. Just one guy, one bum. So far I'll have to go for Bellew, but I'd prefer Cleverly to win, to be honest. But Ari, you're still on the line. You're probably watching American football, but you want to give your opinion on this rematch?
You rat!
You fucking rat!
You rat!
Fucking rat!
I'll fucking have you, rat!
Yeah, man, I'm still going with Bellew, man. I've always gone with Bellew. I think he's the bigger guy, cruiserweight. He should have been at that weight. I still don't think Cleverly should be at this weight. And in Cleverly's last fight, I didn't see any improvements, and he was making the same mistakes.
Yeah, he just stands in the pocket too much and gets hit. I'm going to just check box rep before people correct me. I think has he fought twice at cruiserweight?
Yeah, and both of them were weak opponents, but Cleverly's were actually decent. You know what I mean?
You mean Bellew's are decent?
Yeah, Bellew's were decent. Cleverly's were just normal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
nothing.
I've got it up. Sean Corbin, second round knockout, and then Emilio Valerio, fourth round TKO. Yeah, so Bellew's definitely got the better experience at cruiserweight.
Yeah, well, Bellew's like he's proper motivated. He hates him, man. So.
Yep. Shout out. Can I... Go on, Chew.
Sorry, bro. I just wanted to. I don't know if you're finished on the subject. I just wanted to talk about Curtis Stevens and Hassan Andam.
Go ahead.
I think that's on the first.
Yeah, that's on the Wednesday. Yeah, it's is it ESPN or is it?
Yeah. I think it's.
Yes, it's a Friday night's fight on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Nice one. I mean, I really like Curtis Stevens. I think he's got I would love to see Curtis Stevens Kirkland or fucking Curtis Stevens Rosado. These kind of fights, man. But I think he knocks this guy out. I've not seen much of him, to be honest, but I think he fought Peter Quillen. Is that right?
Yeah, he was a jack in the box. He got dropped about 25 times in that fight.
Well, if Peter Quillen's doing that to you, then I think Stevens is just gonna do a one-hitter quitter and just make him do the Cincinnati Shuffle.
Yeah, I spoke to Kevin on Twitter yesterday, and I asked him, like, who do you think's got more power, Stevens or Quillen? And he said probably just Stevens pips it just a bit more. The thing about Endam though is he got dropped a lot of times against Quillen, but his recovery was really well, and he ended the fight pretty well. Like he started to kind of box Quillen a bit. So I don't know. I think it depends what Stevens turns up, because his performance against Toronto Johnson was pretty poor. But I don't know if it was Johnson fighting really well and Stevens getting caught a bit off guard, or from what I hear, Stevens' preparation wasn't that really good for the fight, so maybe he took Johnson a bit lightly. So it depends what Stevens shows up against Endam, because if he doesn't show up, I think Endam can kind of embarrass him, and maybe just get the win. But one thing that he's got the power, and if he catches Endam clean, then it's probably night-night, to be honest.
Yeah, he's Curtis Stevens is like potential. I still don't think anybody's seen the best Curtis Stevens. He's had some good performances, but what's his trademark win thus far? It's Tyranno Johnson, and I still think he's got a big fight win in him. Whether that's against James Kirkland or somebody like that, I don't know, but I hope he gets to fight Peter Quillen or someone of that nature, because I think he would win.
Yep. Dave, if you're on the line, what do you think about Stevens and how it plays out?
To be honest, man, I don't really give a shit about those two.
You hater.
I'm not a hater. I actually kind of like Curtis Stevens, but like you said, his performance against Tyranno Johnson, it was really, really lacking. So, I mean, unless he's willing to step it up some and really push himself, I just don't see him making a name for himself. I don't see anything happening. And Dom's talented, man. He's got some skill, but what has he really done?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, since his comeback, he was off for a long time after that loss to Quillen, and then since he came back, he's been fighting nobodies really, man. He's just been getting rounds under the belt, getting his confidence back. So yeah, I think Stevens would probably win, to be honest. But Ari, you got an opinion?
Yeah, I think Stevens got it. I don't really rate him damn. And Stevens for the Johnson fight, he wasn't really motivated, I think. So I think Kevin said they barely sparred, if at all, for that fight. So, but I think he should be motivated because it's the final eliminator for the IBF. Weakest champs must probably Solomon. So after that, he must really fight Solomon or Taylor, whoever wins. So yeah, I'll go with Stevens.
And a good segue is this fight is going to be for the predictions for next week as well. So I'll probably put this up to predict maybe tomorrow, or Mal will put it up tomorrow. And we'll probably remind you on Monday just to put this prediction in, because it's a weird night for to have a decent fight, like a Wednesday night, so you might forget to put your predictions in. So, and just to remind you guys, for this weekend we've got Arthur Abraham, Paul Smith to predict, Tavares Cloud versus Arthur Bibatev, and Denis Lebedev versus Powell Kalazigidzi. And they're the three fights for the prediction league this week, boxingcoalition.com. Guys, any final thoughts before we get out of here? Chew, you got any final thoughts?
Nah, they're fuck all fights, man.
Yeah, it's another quiet, like, we've said this too many times, it's a quiet period in boxing. We've said that about 5-6 times this year. Like, 2013 was such a great year, and this year's been such a disappointment. But Dave, you got any final thoughts?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Ari, you got any final thoughts about NFL?
I'm not watching it.
Don't lie, you know you got it on in the background, man.
No, man, I'm in my bed, man. No homo.
I'll let you off. Let me do a quick chat room roll call. Got me, Dave the Sinister, Harry Cole. All these guys have, I know, nothing for something. Captain Jack, shout out to Jack. Chat to him on Twitter, and I think he's going to the Abraham fight in Kiel, Germany on Saturday. So have a good time, Jack. Kid Gallabum, Jas, London Box. Shout out to London Box as well. He won a Steve Bunce competition on Steve Bunce's podcast. He got himself a Muhammad Ali t-shirt. Picture 12, Asa 12. MB2, local Mexican, diehard casual fan, Revolution, Hosley Dwyer, Michael Bergante, all the way in Australia. Joe said it's true. Black Ski Mask Joe and one guest. I mentioned Black Ski Mask Joe because he just called in. Joe, stop making loads of noise. What's happening, Joe?
What's going on, guys? Man, let me just get my final thoughts. I remember you guys were talking about where the hell is Heyman coming up with this money, and I'll leave this as my final thought and something for you guys to think. Maybe he's watering down that money for the drug cartels, man. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right?
Yo, pero.
Chew. I mean,
he's trying to pay off fucking Rebecca's ransom. And I'll just leave it at that, guys.
Alright, take it easy, Ski Mask. Thanks, MB Chew, Dave the Sinister, Daniel Lim, who was on earlier, Ari Gold, and Bruce, who was listening. I think Bruce's missus is asleep next to him, so he couldn't talk today. But yo, guys, thanks a lot. Let's catch you on Monday. Peace.
Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Oh, dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition. Kimo got this Boxing Coalition shit going on. Who the fuck is Ringside Raw?
I'm Ringside Robert, guys.
If you're a casual fan, go fuck yourself, man.
Daniel, don't take the backseat of the car while you're driving though. That could be dangerous.
First time I hear the song, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
You can't come at the Lebanese prince.
Hey, I'm the Arab prince, motherfucker, so I can talk whatever I want, yeah?
I'm never surprised with anything Bob Arum says. I just hope he dies, son.
Do you want to be entertained or you want to see the best fight? Both.
Yeah,
oh shit, you just want it all, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's what casual fans want.
Fuck you, man.
You used all your bandwidth this month on the Boxing Coalition. That's what that was.
Hey, come on, man. Don't be jealous, man.
I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. Fuck that shit. I'm jealous.
How about you tell us what you weight for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.